Receiving acceptance into the Masters of Educational Technology program was an exciting and terrifying letter to read. At the time of acceptance, I'd felt ready, but also incredibly nervous with the challenge that lay ahead. I'd always enjoyed learning, but questioned my abilities before I'd even begun the program. The first course I'd registered for was research methods. I'd spent hours and hours reading literature, Googling definitions, highlighting, and taking notes. My peers suggested that I'd learn to skim as I'd read every word in every resource. I'd learned the ins and outs of performing a research study and gained some confidence in my ability to persevere through densely written material. Instructional design sounded like a course I would excel in. I absolutely loved designing authentic learning opportunities for my students and had high hopes that this love would continue through this course. You'll hear me comment on the importance of creating lessons that are meaningful, memorable, and motivational for learners, and this course did none of the above. Leading up to the first assignment, I felt discouraged, like I should quit the degree entirely. I was out of my league, and despite following every instruction, watching every YouTube video from our instructor, and seeking clarification as needed, I didn't see a light at the end of this course tunnel, and I knew I had to ask for help. After a friend's support and reassurance, I felt more confident heading into the first assignment. The exemplars reflected a medical background, so it took some time for me to align to my context and expectations for the lengthy position paper I was meant to write. By the time this course was finished, I'd written and couriered a 97-page binded course manager's manual to Newfoundland. Creating usable content was important to me early on in my degree. Midway through the instructional design course, I created a self-instructional product in Google Slides for a specific student in my class to support navigating emotional regulation. I was extremely proud of the 4 in-depth models I'd made for him. Then COVID hit and everything shut down. At first, it seemed like an extended March break, but as time went on, we all began to question how our children were going to receive an education with no pandemic end in sight. Some of the families in our school didn't have phone access, let alone a device with the internet. When at-home learning began, we were expected to provide 1 hour of asynchronous learning per day. I was confident in both my own abilities as well as those of my students. They were going to rock this. I'd programmed 12 slides for the day, each equipped with a timer to keep the students on track. I got really good at creating online schedules and activities that were engaging for the very few students who logged into our Google Classroom each day. While some teachers offered choice boards with surface-level material, I was ready to take my entire curriculum online. Although I'd felt 100% confident in making the shift to online learning, the older generation of teachers in my building did not. It was during this time that I'd become somewhat of an e-learning mentor, happy to boost the confidence of my unsure colleagues in the same way that my friend had done for me early on in my degree. Mid-pandemic, I'd moved into the digital citizenship course. Still unsteady from the previous course, I read through an explicit syllabus that incorporated mixed media, color, and student choice. The instructor felt approachable. She facilitated and provided intrinsic feedback. For the first time in this degree, I felt motivated by the meaningful content that was presented. We were asked to begin a blog. Wait, what? You want me to open myself up academically for the world to read? This terrified me. In the end, though, I found this assignment liberating and come to find out that my colleagues loved reading regurgitated alphabets tales from a 3rd grade teacher and found the content quite humorous. A big takeaway from the digital citizenship course was the importance of allowing student interpretation and choice for assignments. I continued to create usable content and was happy to use that content with my students that year and also shared it in my TPT storefront. When we returned to at-home learning for the second time, I noticed a shift from buying rather than creating from sites like Teachers Pay Teachers and Boom Cards. My next course, Technology Planning for Educational Environments, couldn't have come at a better time. I'd spent the better part of this course dug deep into the grade 3 math curriculum yearly plan. For each outcome, I'd found technology-rooted enrichments and aligned them. Have you noticed a theme yet? Meaningful assignments were extremely motivating to me as a learner. I didn't dread doing the work because I was interested. As I moved into the unfamiliar territory of the digital game-based learning course, students were required to play 2 hours of video games per week. I thought I was being punked. I told my husband that we were going to go to the store to buy a new game and controller. I needed it for my degree. He couldn't argue that. The justification was that students would break down which features of gameplay were motivating to users. I also wanted to use this play as a link to my student interest, so I started a Minecraft tutorial club at lunch where students could teach me the basics. This was a game changer for one of my most at-risk students that year. Ironically, the course I'm currently taking, Designing Web-Based Learning, has been the cherry on top in validating a theme throughout my e-learning journey so far. Michael Allen suggested that contextual teaching and instructional design must be motivating, memorable, and meaningful. Remember early on in my degree when I'd felt defeated and unmotivated? Knowing my learners has always been important to me, and became even more crucial once they moved behind a computer screen from their couches and kitchen tables. I've learned that meaningful lessons aren't one size fits all, and motivation comes hand in hand with student choice. Between shifting from in-person and at-home learning with a sprinkle of technology's master's coursework throughout for the last 2 years, I've been challenged to adapt to the times, so to speak, to take risks in my own learning while also pushing students to do the same.